This is part 2 of our series of exercise and women as we age. Hi, I'm Jessica Ballant, a physical therapist and Pilates teacher, and I want to bring science-based knowledge, empathy, courage, support, love, and hopefully some fun to the journeys we have with our bodies. There is hope and strength in your body, and my goal is to help you find it. Hi, welcome back to Meet Your Body. We are doing a part 2 on my previous episode last week on exercise and women as we age, because that really hit a note with you all. I mean, I have had so many comments and responses around that. So I wanted to do kind of a follow-up on some of the questions that I've received, because I've received some really great kind of clarification questions, and I thought everyone could benefit from that. So we're going to do a follow-up, but if you haven't listened to last week's episode, I highly recommend you pause and go back to listen to that first, because what I'll just do a quick recap. We talk about what types of exercise that we need as women as we age, really starting in our 30s, because we start to lose muscle mass in our 30s, believe it or not. We start to lose muscle mass in our 30s. And so there are some really important things we need to do to help kind of prevent that from happening and basically just keep ourselves strong and independent and functional as we age. And we're talking into our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Okay. So all the way through. I absolutely have a passion for reminding women that they can feel safe in their bodies, that we have a way to feel safe in our bodies despite what has happened to us through life. I mean, I absolutely know I experience chronic pain. I am going into my 6th major surgery actually in 3 days. I have been diagnosed with many endometriosis, breast cancer. I've been thrown the curveballs, so I know what it's like to feel disconnected from my body. And I know what it's like to come back home to my body, to feel like a partner with my body. That is truly, truly why I feel like I can face this new diagnosis I've had over the last year. Well, I was diagnosed a year ago, had my mastectomy 10 months ago, and I truly believe that is why I was able to go through that process with some belief in my body. I'll just put it that way. Like, it's a scary time. It's confusing time when diagnosis and pain and frustration or lack of motivation, when any of those things come up, absolutely, it is a frustrating, confusing time, and it can feel really defeating. And it can feel really discouraging. And I've been through all of those, and I continue to. I mean, I'm working through some of them right now as I enter another surgery, wondering, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel weak again, and I've done so much work, and here we go. I know those feelings. But absolutely, I believe that the work that I have done around believing in my body again, around that idea of feeling safe in my body, just putting one foot forward every day to do the movement and the exercise I need, I 100% believe it is allowing me to come back from those surgeries, to feel connected to my body again, to do my rehab, to get strong again, to go down that path of feeling like, yeah, we can do this. It's not going to be easy, right? But one day at a time, I can find my strength again. I can put those deposits into my health bank account. It will make a difference later on. And that's what I want for all of us, for every single person listening. Like, that is why I do what I do, because I truly believe that life can feel different when you have that connection to your body. And part of that really is knowing, okay, what are the best exercises for me to be doing? Because there's so much information out there, right? There's so much noise around all the millions of types of exercise you should or shouldn't be doing for what age and what time of day and when you should eat. And oh my gosh, it is overwhelming. And so it just feels like, well, I'm just not even going to bother. I'm just not even going to try. So I want to simplify it in some ways to make sure that you know that just moving is good, right? Any movement is good movement. I completely believe that. And also, there are some really specific things that we should be doing every week to make sure that we're preparing our bodies as we age, as we move forward, to help prevent those falls, to help keep our posture tall, to be able to continue to do the gardening or the surfing or the trail runs or the hikes with our family or lifting the grandkids, all the things that we want to be able to do. There are things we can do now to help make that happen, because truly, I don't believe it's ever too late. Okay, please know that. Anytime you start is a good time. It is never too late. And also, it is harder after you experience that injury, after you experience the fall. It's better, if possible, to be doing these things ahead of time so your body is prepared if life does throw you that curveball. All right, so that's where kind of all of this comes from. And so last week we did talk very specifically about the types of exercise that you should be doing, especially in an aging body as a woman. And we're talking specifically for women. This can really be applied to anyone as we age. But the reason I really have a passion for women feeling safe in their bodies and feeling strong in their bodies. But also, we do have some different needs. I mean, we absolutely do. We experience osteoporosis. We experience hormone changes. In traditional medicine, it's always been thought we just act like men, right? We're just smaller men. And that's not the case. We have our own very specific needs. And so that's really what I'm talking to here. So the 4 types of exercise we do review are lifting weights. You need to be lifting weights every single week. And we're going to go through some questions around this. But again, if you want details on what that means, how many times a week, those kind of things, I want you to go back and listen to last week's episode. So lifting weights. Second thing is what I call kind of a Pilates/mobility session. So Pilates, I have found, is just so valuable for feeling what your body feels like when you move in space, right? Where is your body in space? How is your balance? How is your mobility? Like, doing Pilates is what allows me, honestly, truly, to recover from my surgeries, to get back to lifting weights and get back to doing the things I want to do. Pilates is what I feel like is almost the foundation of the other movements that I do. And what allows me to do it without pain with my endometriosis. It allows me to keep my SI joint healthy and safe. It helps my balance and all of those kind of things. So we want to include that as well. Another thing is there's some really great research coming out now around women as we age needing plyometrics. All right. So we used to think of plyometrics, and a lot of people probably still do, is just lots of jumping and lots of things for athletes. Plyometrics really is just putting your muscles under speed. So it's strength with speed. And that can be really important too. And then I always tell people to walk. And that might be something you might say, oh, I'm still a runner. You know, I'm in my 60s and I still love to run. Awesome. Like, I'm not going to tell you to stop doing anything that you love to do. If you love to swim, if you love to walk, if you love to dance, whatever you love to do, keep doing it. These are just the things that you really need to make sure you kind of have shored up or have as a good habit. And I always include walking in there as well. Walking has so many benefits. It can be done really no matter where we are, right? In the actual physical world, no matter where we are, no matter what season of life we're in, there is a way to walk, even if it means like just throwing on a pair of sandals and walking outside for 10 minutes or walking down to the mailbox. There's a way to walk. And truly, like I said, I have surgery in 3 days. It's a follow-up to my mastectomy. I had my pre-op yesterday. And on the sheet, it says, start walking as soon as possible after surgery. I mean, there are very few, if any, medical cases in the world that would say don't walk. I mean, walking can heal us in so many ways. So I'll always add that as kind of a final piece to add if you're looking for the basics on exercise. So that's kind of a quick review of why this is important, what we talked about last week. So now I want to get into kind of some of the questions that you guys asked around those things. So the first thing is, I got a really nice message from one of you commenting on what I said last week about walking, about how if you are truly in a season right now, for whatever reason, that you feel like anything feels too overwhelming or just not, you don't have the capacity to do much of anything. Again, for whatever reason. And I want to validate those reasons, okay? Whatever reason you have. I had mentioned at least get out and walk. Just get out and walk 10 minutes. see how that feels. And this person had messaged me saying thank you for that comment, because she's at a place right now where other exercise just isn't available to her, and she hopes to be there at some point. But it felt like it gave her, again, like a little bit of empowerment of, okay, but I can do that, right? So I just want to reiterate that whatever you can do, I want you to hold on to that and do it. Okay, so it might be getting down on the floor or in bed or on your Pilates mat and doing a 10-minute routine of stretches. It might be getting outside and just walking in the sun for 10 minutes. You need to meet your body where it is and find consistency with that. There's so much beauty and power in consistency. So if walking is what you have in you, and you're like, I can do 10-minute walk a day, I want you to do that. Do it every day for a month. Do it until it feels so normalized that you can't imagine not doing it. Then, believe it or not, you will most likely have the space and the capacity to add something else, because that will be your new baseline. So we are never trying to jump from 0 to 60. There's absolutely no place that is sustainable. It's just not. We've probably all done it, right? That's why January 1st happens. We go from 0 to 60 and it lasts for a couple weeks, and by February we're done. That is not a lack of willpower, okay? That is a lack of planning. And that is not teaching your body to be safe and to feel really good about movement, because you haven't developed a new baseline. Like neurologically, the way our brains work, it doesn't work for us. You have to think of this as a long game. Okay, we are in it for the long game here. We're in it for the long-term results, and those don't happen in 2 weeks. So again, build a new baseline. So if you can do the whole program I talked about, great. Maybe you're lifting weights a certain amount of times. Maybe you can walk a certain amount of times, and you say, that's all I have right now. I can lift weights twice a week. I can walk every day. Great. Do that until, again, it becomes your new baseline. It becomes so ingrained in your schedule that it is just a non-negotiable. You can do it no matter what. Then add that 1 day a week of plyometrics. Okay, don't again go from 0 to 60. Don't go from absolutely nothing to all of it. Build that baseline. Build new habits. It takes time. It takes at least 30 days. Give yourself 30 days to add a new thing, and do it every day. That's the most important thing, is consistency on that one thing, right? Then add the next thing. Okay, let's jump into some questions about lifting weights. And these are great questions, so I'm going to go through quite a few. So I mentioned last week, women, we have to be lifting weights. You've heard me say it over and over again, and it is true, and the research proves it, and there's just no way around it. You have to be lifting weights for your muscles, for your bones, for your brain, for function, for all of it. And when I say lifting weights, I mean lifting some weights, okay? I don't mean your 3-pound dumbbells. Which again, if you have to start there, because this is where I'm going to clarify, if you have to start there, that is completely fine. But I don't want you to stop there. So if you were in physical therapy with me, I'm a physical therapist. If you were in PT with me and you had an injury, I'm going to start you with just moving. Let's say it's your shoulder. I'm going to start you with moving your arm against gravity. Like that's all we're doing. So kind of like, that's not even body weight. Okay. So that's just moving your arm up and down against gravity. Then we move to body weight. Meaning I'm going to have you on all fours, okay? We're going to be doing some stuff to put weight through your arm. Then I'm probably going to move you to a resistance band, right? Like a TheraBand. Then I'm going to move you to possibly a 1-pound weight. That's where we have to start. Then I'm going to move you to 2 pounds. Then I'm going to move you to 3 pounds. That is the starting point. That is the starting point. That is a great place to decrease pain, to teach the body how to move again. Like we start to find the rhythm and the pattern of movement, and we start to add weight a little bit at a time. But if I told you as your physical therapist, okay, you're done. Great job. You don't have to do anything again. I am doing you a disservice, because that's not functional, because you're probably telling me, well, I have to carry bags of groceries. Or maybe you're telling me like I have to carry a car seat. Or maybe you're telling me, I love to garden, or I love to craft, or I love to cook, and I need to be using my arms for a couple hours at a time. That is a disservice if I tell you, oh, you can lift a 2-pound weight, great, you're good to go. Because truly, you're not. That is not going to translate. So lifting a 2-pound weight is just not going to translate into those heavier duty activities, okay? A full grocery bag weighs 10 pounds, right? I know you're doing that, and I know you're probably doing more than that. Holding your hair dryer over your head to try to dry your hair for like 5-10 minute stretch, that is a lot more than holding 2 pounds and just lifting up and down. So hear me when I say that starting there is awesome. It is awesome. Start where you need to start. But stopping at 2 or 3 pounds, again, is not going to help you functionally long-term. It's not going to fight the loss of muscle mass that we experience as we age. It's not going to long-term help with osteoporosis. You need what we call progressive overload, which is adding weight over time. You add weights over time as you get strong enough to do so. Okay, so as soon as you can do 10 reps easily with a 3-pound weight, I'm moving you to 5 pounds. And as soon as you can do that, I'm moving you to 8. And as soon as you can do that, I'm moving you to 10. And I want you to believe that you can do it. That's what I want. I talk to so many people who say, oh, that's all I've ever had. I only had 2-pound dumbbells and I think that's enough. I promise you it's not. I want you to have more, and I want you to believe that you can. So you do need to be doing more. Again, there's a purpose for all of those other things though. I have body weight workouts in Unlimited. I have resistance band workouts in Unlimited, and they are great workouts, and they have a different purpose. They are not that progressive overload, fight osteoporosis, build muscle workouts. They are body awareness. They're getting our joints moving correctly. They're giving us opportunities to move when we travel, right? You can just throw a TheraBand in your suitcase. They're working in a different way, which is also very valuable, but it does not replace lifting weights. So just know that that's where we want to get. We need progressive overload. We can start small, but you're going to get heavy. I would love for everyone to get to like 8 or 10 pounds. And for a lot of you, I mean, I hear from you in Unlimited. And yes, hear me also where I say it can take a year. It takes a year of consistency. But I have heard from so many of you saying, okay, for the holidays, I am asking for 15-pound dumbbells. I never thought I'd be here, but here I am, and I'm so excited. Like, that's what I love, that you start to feel so empowered and you feel the power that comes from being strong. Like, there's nothing like it when you feel that confidence of, oh yeah, I can do that. Like, absolutely, I don't have to ask for help. I can do that. That's what we're going for here. So start small if you need to, but just absolutely, yes, nothing replaces weights. We can use them for different reasons, and I do. I absolutely love body weight workouts, and I absolutely love resistance band workouts. But body weight workouts will not replace lifting weights, and TheraBand workouts do not replace lifting weights. They can help get you there. If you need to gain some strength or go through PT, they can help get you there. They can help be an alternative in certain ways, and they have their own benefits, but they're not going to replace weights. I also wanted to talk about lifting weights and prolapse, because this is something near and dear to my heart, because I experienced severe prolapse for 7 years and then went through a hysterectomy and prolapse repair surgery. So I have been there. And so I'll try not to go on too much of a soapbox here about lifting weights and prolapse, because I want to give you information. And also, first thing I want to say is there's so much fear mongering out there around what you can do with a prolapse. And a lot of it comes from healthcare professionals who do not take the time to explain nuance to you. They try to make it as simple as possible. And honestly, it's lazy to tell you, oh, you just can never squat again. You can never lift a weight again. To tell you that when you have a prolapse is inaccurate, lazy, fear-mongering, and not helpful, because it is wrong. I promise you, I lifted weights because I knew the benefits for my bones, for my muscles, and I absolutely was going to find a way to lift weights even with a prolapse. Now, you also have to be creative. Sometimes you just do. I couldn't do the big barbell movements overhead. That was going to put all that downward pressure on my prolapse. So what you're trying to do is avoid downward pressure on your prolapse, and that can be a little different for all of us. And I have a lot of workouts on how to keep your body mobile and healthy so that you can lift weights without downward pressure. But just know there are ways that you can change it up. So one is sitting, okay? So if I am teaching you a workout with weights and I'm standing and doing bicep curls and overhead shoulder press and all of that, you can do it sitting. That's what I would do. If my pelvic floor started to get tired, I would just do all of it sitting. Same, I would think, okay, what are all the weights I can do laying down? You can lay down on your back and do chest press. You can lay down on your back and do tricep press. You can be on all fours and do a leg lift. There are actually so many moves you can do down on the mat with weights. So I want you to take from this knowing that, I can still lift weights. You might have to change it up a little bit. It might be different, but you can. And again, if someone's telling you, you just can't, they're wrong or they've never experienced it before. Find someone to work with who understands your condition and your goals and your needs and will be willing to take the time to explain that to you and work around it to give you a program that works for you. Same with squats. Okay, you do a squat every time you get on and off the toilet. You just do. That's how we get on off the toilet. That's how we get on and off the couch. You do a lunge every time you get on and off the floor. So for someone to tell you, just don't ever do that again and scare you, again, that's not helpful. It's not functional and it's not true. There's a lot of ways we can squat safely with a prolapse. And it really depends on the person because we all have different types and different grades of prolapse. But I absolutely will work with women with prolapse and teach you how to squat safely so that you at least are functional and can choose what moves work for you. I had a couple questions also about the plyometric piece. And again, go back to that previous episode and I explain what that is. But just to kind of dive into that, a couple people were asking, just do I have plyometric workouts, how to include it? And believe it or not, if you are in Unlimited and you follow the monthly workout calendar, you have been doing plyometrics maybe without realizing it because we have that high intensity interval training day or that cardio day. And many times I'll put those workouts there. And so just know it doesn't have to be impact, okay? It doesn't have to mean running or jumping or any of that. You can work your muscles under speed and strength in a non-impact way. And I have many workouts in Unlimited showing you that. So again, you could just look up non-impact cardio or non-impact plyometrics. I do have a YouTube video coming out this month with that as well, so you can see what that looks like. But basically, it's challenge yourself and your muscles in a different way. It can even be with dumbbells, where you just move a little bit faster or a little bit different speed to challenge those muscles in that way. And then I had someone ask, and I know this is really common for many of you, ask about doing squats and lunges and those things if you have some of that crackling noise in your knees. So that's called crepitus in general. If it's not painful and you just hear that noise, it's called crepitus, and it's a condition that happens on the back of your kneecap. Basically, it's like an arthritis where there's a little bit of a breakdown or you just hear that noise happening. So in general, if you don't have pain whatsoever with it, then we tell people that we continue to move. If the noise really bothers you, you can do a smaller movement or a smaller motion. But again, that's one of those things that I'm going to work with you to feel safe and confident doing it and not tell you, you just have to avoid that, because you don't. If it's not painful, you do not have to avoid it. You can still do those movements. So having pain though, and I know that's, again, I hear from many of you, possibly you've had knee replacements, hip replacements, you have arthritis in your knees, do a smaller motion. That's the first thing I'll tell you. Do a smaller motion. Second, you can do something like if we're doing a squat, you can do a wall sit instead, or you can put a chair behind you and sit back into it and stand back up. Or instead of lunges, you can do a step up. What I don't want is for you to just label or box yourself and say, you know what, I've been told before I have arthritis, so I just better not ever do that. Or I had a total knee replacement, so I don't think I can ever do those motions. Honestly, that's not true. Like if you had a total knee replacement, you absolutely can still do squats and lunges. I am saying that from a on paper perspective. I know you might say, but it hurts. And that's a whole different thing. I would work with you individually. I want you to find a PT. I want you to find a personal trainer. We can do virtual sessions. I want you to, again, find a way that you feel safe and confident in your body. You meet it where it is, But you don't just stop because you think someone maybe told you along the line that that might not be a good thing. I want you to really investigate. I want you to feel like you are worth it, that the future is worth it. Because I can tell you, I have seen people with all of those conditions find a way to still move in life. And I know we are all different, okay? And I might see you virtually and say, you know what? You're right. I don't think I want you to do lunges, but this is what you can do instead. Like, that's the biggest thing, that you become curious, that you become an advocate for yourself, that you say, you know what, I might not be able to do that, but I can do this instead. Or I am going to see a healthcare professional and finally figure this out because I want to move and I don't want to be afraid and I want some answers. That's really where I want you to start to go and start to journey to, because that is the piece that will let you get over the hump to at least experiment and start to find the movements that work for you. All right, so hopefully that helped clarify a few things from last week's episode. And then just to remind you, if you're listening to this in real time, we are in December 2024. And so a couple opportunities that you have here to put all of this into practice and to see how it all comes together. On YouTube this month, I am releasing the next 3 videos will be like a 10-minute lower body basic dumbbell, then a 10-minute upper body basic dumbbell, and then a 10-minute plyometric. So you can see this again in practice and add them into your routine. For more, like to actually see week by week how we make this a plan, come into my unlimited community. And our January theme is strong. So in January, we're doing the theme strong, and we are going to have a weekly workout plan with this exact thing. We lift weights 2 times a week. We have that high intensity or plyometric day. We have a Pilates day. We have an amazing supportive community. We have live sessions. We have all of that so that you'll find some motivation, you will be cheered and supported, and again, you can put it into practice. So you can join Unlimited anytime, but if you really feel like having some accountability, some motivation in January, that's a great time to come on board. We're going to have that strong challenge or strong theme going, and I'll have the links to all of those below. So thanks again for being here, and I hope all of that helps you start to feel motivated and again, feeling excited about finding your own strength. I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much for joining me today on Meet Your Body. If you have a moment, please consider rating and reviewing this podcast, as it helps us tremendously. For more resources and workouts, you can visit my website, jessicavallantpilates.com, or find me on YouTube or Instagram at Jessica Vallant Pilates.